Hello, welcome to Doobies with Doug's Sunday Services Edition. I'm doing the hippie version of busting open crab legs. I don't eat crabs, but I do bust roaches. I had a long night last night, and a person I work for sometimes here in the neighborhood, I hesitate to call her a friend, but somebody I know, uh, called me at 11:30, 12 o'clock last night, wanting to know if I can save her day. So I borrowed the neighbor's truck, went and jump started her car, and on the way back, truck takes a shit. Stops running, blah, 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 like it ran out of gas, is what it sounded like. So until 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm fucking this truck trying to get it running again. Enough, I only needed to go 4 more blocks to get it home, to get it where it belonged. But it didn't want to start back up. And luckily, it's a carburetor. So I figured out what the problem was. Took the fuel pump off. Luckily, it's not one of those sons of bitches that's in the gas tank. Took the fuel pump off, banged it on a rock about a dozen times. Put it back on, fired right up. So he's picking up a new fuel pump today. I'll be putting that on for him later. I was so happy to look on the Google and see where the fuel pump was and go, oh, thank God it's not in the fucking gas tank. Truck's just old enough that it's got the old-fashioned style. So, roach bombs it is for breakfast. Oh, there we go. So this being a Sunday Services edition, I want to talk about citizen journalists today. We live in an age where the power of the people is stronger than it's ever been. We don't have to rely on CBS, NBC, Fox, any of these fucktards, professional liars, public relations departments for the government. We don't have to rely on them anymore. You want to know what happens somewhere? Go watch the footage. It's there. There's people everywhere with cell phones pointing it at everything that happens. And it's changing the world quickly. It's just too powerful. The court of public opinion, and you take, for instance, like, everyone knows about the George Floyd case. That's the famous one. But there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of other cases like that. Maybe not to that extreme where somebody was murdered, but plenty of them that did end that way. And more importantly, if you watch these citizen journalists, our fucking police are idiots. They're fucking brown shirt, Nazi, thug, punk, coward idiots. All of them. There might be 1 out of 1,000 that's worth a shit. The rest of them are fucking idiots, and I mean fucking dumb. I watched a video this morning of a Secret Service officer, right? Sworn police officer, whatever you want to call him, he's a federal cop, telling this guy he can't videotape on a sidewalk. He can't point his video inside a building in the sidewalk. Detains the guy, violates his Fourth Amendment twice, detains him, then takes his ID against his will. That's two Fourth Amendment violations, right? He didn't arrest the guy, but he did detain him. So that's one, violation of the First Amendment, freedom of press. Two, violation of the Fourth Amendment, he seized his person. And three, violation of the Fourth Amendment again when he seized his identification. That is three in a matter of a minute, maybe two. Some insurance company's going to pay a settlement on that. Dude's going to get paid. It's probably an $80,000, $90,000 lawsuit. You can watch, there's this video by Batosai. It's the reason he couldn't audit for a couple of years, because he had this thing in court and it was, fighting its way through the court systems. And he won $1 million or $500,000. It's ridiculous. And all he's doing is filming. He's filming a police station in Austin. And they detain him, put him in cuffs, stick him in the car. The whole time they're lying to him. We have the right to ID you. We're going to arrest you, take you downtown and fingerprint you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It'd be so much easier if you just cooperate. Blah, 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 blah. For like, I forget how long it is, half an hour, 40 minutes. They're sweating him out in this car with the cuffs on. And finally, they just have to fucking swallow their pride and turn him loose. And he turns around and sues $500,000. Fucking idiots. But they'll keep doing it, making good content, and the news isn't going to cover this. If you watch CBS or NBC and Fox, any of these, when they talk about First Amendment auditors, you're not getting the real story. They want to run shit like, oh, they're baiting cops. Baiting cops. You know what kind of fish don't end up on a hook? Kind of don't eat worms. They kind of don't take the bait. You mean like cops bait people? DUI checkpoints? Hiding behind signs? Hiding in the bushes to pull people over? Blah, 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 blah. That's all cops fucking do is bait people into fucking up. Baiting. You're baiting. I'm going to stand here with a camera and not say a fucking word. And somehow I'm baiting officers. They are the worst among us. Yeah, I mean, they go in the spectrum from Derek Chauvin, which is a large portion of the police officers out there are more like Derek Chauvin. And then you got Kim Potter on the other end, who's just a hapless fucking dole out there murdering people. And I'd like to point out she shot a man and got way less fucking time than I did for growing weed. My sentence was 3 times longer than hers. and she murdered a person, a human, killed him. So there are these atrocities, this inhumane, evil way that police have been acting forever, and it's now on public display. Anybody and everybody can see it. And that's the power of citizen journalists. They don't have anybody to answer to. You know what I'm saying? The people that pay for commercials on Fox and commercials on CBS or whatever are the same people that are paying to put politicians in place. These cats on the street with a camera, they got nothing to lose and they got no one to please and they got nothing but truth in mind. Just objectively fucking document what happened. And the more they do it, the more people become aware that we have a fucking problem. Big one. Our government, from the top to the bottom, is being run by inept fucking dolts. Lunatics. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We live in a country where the leader, believes that when the pedophile in the dress puts biscuits and fucking high C in his mouth, it turns into the blood and body of a fucking 2,000-year-old zombie Jew that could walk on water. He believes this in his heart to be true. You expect us to have any type of sensible nation run by sensible rules? For fuck's sake. You know, when you raise people on a steady diet of dumb, stupid, fucking retarded, non-true, cult-teaching bullshit, chances of them becoming a rational adult are pretty fucking slim. I've been asked before, what do you view as your number one greatest gift as a human? I said, the fact that I'm unteachable. Nobody's ever successfully taught me anything. You can show me some shit, and I'll see how you do it, but I'm going to have to teach myself how to do it. And because of that, since birth, I've never bought into any of this fucking bullshit. No cult bullshit, no fucking religion, no fucking cult of personality, no cult of government, no cult of nationality. The United States could burn completely to the motherfucking ground, every flag in it, and if it moved freedom forward, I'd be all for it. I wouldn't fucking bat an eye. This nation could fucking disappear and it wouldn't bother me one bit. I'm more concerned with being human than I am with being American. 8 days a week. Ah, yes, roachweed. So this whole movement of journalism is spreading all over into different areas. You got your cop watchers, First Amendment auditors, Second Amendment auditors, uh, court watchers. More and more people. See, I watch courts. I watch usually in the evening or sometimes all day if it's an exciting one. But I watch cases that are in court that are being broadcast. A lot of them are superior court and appellate court cases that are by normal standards, not very exciting cases. They're not murder cases. They're not, big high profile cases, but they carry a lot of implications and weight in the law. And I've noticed more and more and more and more and more and more people showing up in the chat sites, in the chat rooms that are connected to these videos, these live streams. And more of them have more and more knowledge of the law. The main tool that government uses to oppress us is our lack of understanding of how things work. That's it. There's little simple things that seem innocuous when you look at them from the outside, like policies and laws and the difference thereof. Is it legal for, say, a post office to put a sign on the door that says no photography allowed? Absolutely. It's legal for them to put that sign there. But that sign is not enforceable. If you go in there and record anyway, there's nothing they can fucking do because of the supremacy clause of the United States Constitution. You cannot override the First Amendment. It's just a fact. It's the way it's set up. It's set up that way for a reason. The First Amendment is supposed to be the most powerful law in the land. Okay? Now, in one sentence, the First Amendment is freedom of speech. But it has 5 elements. There's your freedom to speak, just to be heard, to speak. Right? In a public place, you can speak. There is your freedom to speak to your friends. Right? Freedom of press. You can gather information, tell people, speak to the people. There's your freedom to assemble, your freedom to get together and talk to you about shit, freedom to speak to each other in groups about it, your freedom to redress your grievances, which is your freedom to speak to the government, and of course, your freedom to speak to nobody, freedom of religion, the freedom to talk to yourself in groups and not pay taxes if you're talking to yourself. The last one's the big mistake, but anyway, we'll get back to that some other day. But those are supposed to be the 5 most powerful laws of the land. Nothing can supersede them. So, policy schmolicy. Okay, the only time you have to follow a policy is if you work for the company who implements that policy. So, a police department can have a policy that they get people's ID 100% of the time that they interact with them. That can be their policy. That does not give them the legal right to demand ID from 100% of the people they encounter. Right? The Supremacy Clause, their policy, even if they write a municipal code, an ordinance, a state law, cannot supersede the Constitution. Cannot supersede the First Amendment. And that's why we need the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is for when the First Amendment don't work anymore. And the First Amendment never has. We should go fucking get a flat tire. Why the hell this dude's going down this fucking road at 45 miles an hour? turned into an old man. I swear to God, though. I'm not admitting to nothing on fucking camera, but well, that motherfucker's gonna learn some lessons. There's constantly kids and old people and dogs and everything else on this road walking. Everybody in this neighborhood walks around constantly. Slow the fuck down, asshole. She's out here hot rodding his truck up and down the road. That's okay. Little does he know, I have lunch with his landlord once or twice a month. On a first name basis with his landlord and his whole family. So we'll just go have a little talk with Chris about him. I should have whipped the camera out. If he keeps doing it, I'm going to. I'm just going to stand out there and record him going by it, see if he has anything to say about it. I don't like the guy. I kind of want to punch him in the mouth. And this doesn't help. Citizen journalism. So the one thing I miss about Sunday services is it was always the time when everybody would show up. And as you can see, I sit here in my little box alone. Not that that bothers me. I've had this camper for 2 years now, and other than me, there's been 2 people in here for a total of about 10 minutes tops. Total. Both people. A couple of people have stepped in and looked around. Oh, this will work. Yeah, it covers your gear. Yeah, cool. Right on. And that's about it. There's only one place to sit down in the whole camper. Right here. That's it. There's nowhere else to sit. Everything else is covered with shelving or guitars or something. I don't. I kind of like it alone. I miss interacting with people sometimes, but life is just so much easier when I don't have anybody else's shit to deal with. Big old Robin. Still waiting on a appearance from Squirrely the Cheryl. Shirley the Squirrel. I haven't seen her yet today. She wasn't up bitching at me this morning. She's like swelled right up. I think she's pregnant. And she was looking kind of frazzly yesterday. Like her hair was all out of order and shit. So, if she's out there, she'll be down because I put a big old blob of this here on the feeder out there. And that says a little bit about how much I like my squirrel, because that shit's expensive and I don't get up off it easy. I got peanut butter for that, but she don't like peanut butter. Don't blame her. I'm still using peanut butter that I got for free, so it's all got oil in it and shit. Which is yet another topic for citizen journalists to branch out into, and that's food. We really need to start working on that and exposing that system for what it is, because it's evil. And it's perpetuating starvation around the globe. beautiful day here. I think I'm gonna go walk the beach. Oh, it's Sunday, so maybe not. I'll save the beach for tonight. There'll be a lot of people down there on a Sunday. So, well, not like 10 over a mile, but still, that's too many people for me. I'll probably go up in the hills. It's a nice hot day. It's a good day to walk around in the big trees and poke around, find some new trails. This fucking Doobies dag as fuck. It's all big fat roaches. I mean, that's what my roaches look like. So 4 or 5 of them, and more than half of them have hash or keef in them. So gotta love Oregon. I got invited to go back to Michigan for a couple of weeks. I had to think about that one for tenth of a second. Fuck no, I ain't going back to Michigan. You goddamn head. If I was to go back there now, even with a round trip plane ticket, I'm 99% sure something cataclysmic would happen to the transportation system in the world, and I'd be stuck there for 10 fucking years. And I wouldn't die either. I'd just fucking suffer. So I don't know if these are supposed to be flavored like something, but they're blue flavored, orange flavored, white flavored, yellow flavored. They're better than soda. I don't drink nearly as many of those as I do with soda. So I still go through enough of them, probably 5 or 6 a day, plus coffee, plus I usually have juice with dinner, coffee in the morning, of course. So yeah, think about this citizen journalist thing. If you got free time, find something, think about something that you can go look at and check out and see how it works. Get the scoop. Share it with us. Inquiring minds want to know what it is you're thinking about. What it is you notice about the world that ain't quite right. I mean, for me, it's all about waves and tide pools and fucking eagles and shit. Because I don't interact with people or society any more than I absolutely have to. But if you're out there in society and you see some shit and you're like, hey, that ain't right, boom, throw the camera up, document that shit. Especially if it's got to do with your public servants. I don't care if you're at the DMV, Secretary of State, you call it some places. No matter where the fuck you are, if you're dealing with your government officials, you pull out your fucking camera. Especially any of them with guns. Film them. If you are one of the rare people in my life that might see this, that thinks that policing is not a problem in this country, try it yourself. Go stand across the street from a police station and film it. And exercise your rights. Don't give up your ID. Don't let them violate your rights. Stand there and be quiet. Film. Follow the law to the letter. You don't have to answer their questions. You don't have to speak to them. You don't have to do anything. Try it. See how it works out. If you stick to your guns and don't talk, chances are you're going to end up in the hospital or jail or both. You may or may not get your ass beat in the process. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people get charged for shit every day that never happened. And they fucking do the time or take the plea and pay the fines, and you can't just fight it. You can get 100% bullshit charges that you have fucking 100% evidence for that they're bullshit charges, and it's still going to cost you thousands of dollars and years to fight it. Because they run the system. And it's not until we run the system that we're going to get any justice. And we're starting to get it now. You know, there's fucking $3 billion a year in 2020 in civil rights suits, which is, that's not going to change anything. I mean, it's bringing awareness. The taxpayers are going, wait a minute, why are we paying $3 billion a year for cops that don't know the first fucking 3 laws on the books? They can't stop fucking violating people's rights, you know. So it's raising awareness, but it's not doing anything to the police or to the municipalities or to the academies that are training these fucking goons. It's our money. When somebody sues the Newport Police Department or the Oregon State Police, that money gets paid by me. Their insurance premiums go up, their bonding premiums go up, whatever. Who pays for it? Taxpayers. Abolish qualified immunity if you want, so that you can sue a cop for anything. And it's the cop you're suing. What's going to happen? Cop's going to have to carry fucking liability insurance to the tune of $10 or $15 million a year, like a fucking doctor, and he's going to get $600,000 or $700,000 a year for his fucking work instead of the $100,000 they're making now, because he's going to have to pay out a huge fucking insurance premium. And who's going to pay for that? The taxpayers. The suing people shit isn't going to get us anywhere. Other than raise the ire of the taxpayers, it's not going to get us anywhere. For almost everything that you can sue for in civil court, there's an associated criminal code. We need lawyers willing to buck the system and bring criminal charges. Prosecutors. Accountable. Accountable doesn't mean giving a besmirch on their record and then the taxpayers hand a bunch of money to somebody. Accountable means when you violate somebody's rights and you break the law, you go to jail. No more prison in the pines for the pigs either. Put them bitches on the rock where they belong. Anyway, this is turning into a 40-minute joint. It's a nice one, though. This guy owes me a camera. Well, he doesn't owe it to me. He owes me money and was going to pay me with a camera because he doesn't have money and he has a lot of cameras, but he fucking perpetually isn't showing up with the camera. And it's supposed to be a decent camera, so I'm kind of impatient to get it because I have my own version of citizen journalism I do. And I can't do it without a good camera. And speaking of cameras, this one sucks. Maybe if I give it some weed, it'll work better. No, it just doesn't focus worth a fuck. Of course, half of that might be me. But anyway, this has been Sunday Services with Doobies with Doug. Over and out.